Okay, thank you for walking 5 miles to come to this session. We're going to try to make it worth it. Not just it's good for your Fitbit, but it's also good for your brain. The session we're going to have. We're going to show you today how IT folks and finance folks can get along, right? And you're going to see that it happens. And we're going to give you a real example. So the first thing we're going to do is, you may have heard of Fiserv, but we're going to introduce Fiserv. They're going to talk about the reporting challenge, and they're going to talk about the architecture, do a demo, and some of the lessons learned. So first, can you tell us a little bit about Fiserv?
Sure, Mark. So thanks so much for having us today. We're excited to talk to you all about how we're not only using Power BI in our everyday lives, but also integrating our relationships with Microsoft and delivering better results and better analysis and insights to our business consumers. So Fiserv is one of those companies that a lot of people interact with fairly regularly, but you don't really know it. So show of hands, how many people have heard of Fiserv? All right, so pretty good bit. How many people actually know what Fiserv does? Okay.
Wow, more than you expected, I think.
Yeah, that's
more
good.
Than it's your surprise.
That's good. Yep, so Fiserv, when you think about your day-to-day life, be it personal or business, you know, what's more important than making sure your money gets to where it needs to be when it needs to get there? And here's where Fiserv comes in. We enable today's consumer to manage money with ease, speed, and convenience by making this movement of money better, faster, smarter, seamless, and secure through our services and technology offerings. So these are just some high-level stats over, giving a sense of scale to what we do. We have 25 million, or a base of 25 million and growing active bill payment users, 140 million deposit accounts serviced annually. And then what really blows my mind is we move over $75 trillion annually. Now, for a sense of scale, that's over 3.5 times the size of the current US economy, which is pretty wild. So in addition to these bragging rights, we also have a very attractive investor profile. We've delivered double-digit EPS growth for 33 straight years. And for 6 years running, we've been named to the Fortune magazine's World Most Admired Companies. So we're pretty proud of our proof points. And given that we're a market leader in the areas that we operate, the partnership with Microsoft only made sense in making sure that our internal customers get the best service quality and the best insights to what makes our business tick. We want to make sure that our internal customers have the same value as our external customers.
Beautiful, very impressive. And so now tell us a little bit about both of you. So you are in finance, right?
Yes, so I started at Fiserv about 2 years ago. I've been in a finance role, however, it's been more project-based and helping enable modern tools such as Power BI, not only within the finance organization, but also within operations or other parts of the business. And it's been a great opportunity to just reach out and meet a lot of people in a lot of different functions that I probably wouldn't have gotten to do. So with partnering with Rob's team and helping deliver these functionalities within Power BI and some of the other Power Platform products, it's honestly been the most fun project I've been with my career to date. So it's been a great experience.
And so you are the finance guy who likes the mountain, and Rob is the IT guy who likes the beach, right? You can see in the picture. Yep. So tell us a bit about yourself, Rob.
So I'm Rob Long. I'm a director in our enterprise technology group, and we primarily enable associates with enterprise technology and software development solutions through our partnership with various groups in our technology and the business groups. So we don't want to be barriers. We want to tear the barriers down and help the business groups be more productive.
Beautiful. I wish I had you, because I was in finance for 20 years and I fought a lot with IT, but it looks like you guys get along. And so you guys have a significant reporting challenge, right?
We do, right. Fiserv was historically a holding company that grew through 70-plus acquisitions over the last 30 years. And as you can imagine, trying to create a single consolidated company out of that creates a lot of challenges when you have 70 different silos that you need to bring together. And that has led to a lot of reporting that's been done historically in Excel, creating similar to the maze that you see on the right, the limitations that come along with it. And so what we've done is tried to bring that together through Power BI and get rid of a lot of the labor-intensive features that have to occur and reduce the margin of error that has occurred through bringing all the data together.
A lot of Excel hell, lots of spreadsheets and all of that.
Yep.
And so this must have created a challenging BI environment, right?
Right, and so we had before all these different groups throughout the company were bringing all this similar data together, essentially creating the Wild West and doing analytics in silos. So you have the same people pulling the same data, but getting different results from it. They had multiple data source locations. No one knew where it was, different reporting formats. The data sets may have been incomplete and inconsistent data rules. And so what we found is a lot of people were emailing these files across. And so you can imagine you get your Excel final, V1, V2. Which one is the most accurate implementation of it?
It's a deck
Right.
when we prepare. It's final.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so versioning becomes a big deal. And through establishing that central environment, we're better able to understand what's the most accurate piece of information.
You know what I did 20 years ago when I was in finance? I put I wanted to show on top of my alphabetically. So I had A1, A.
So it's not a true finance file unless it's 300 megs in Excel.
That's right.
That's right. And putting that in email
That's right. That's right.
creates its own challenges.
All right. And so the inconsistent definition is obviously a big challenge, right?
That's right.
So maybe what we can do is talk quickly about the infrastructure. And I love the clarity and how the slide you put together to explain the process you go and how you leverage data flows. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your architecture?
Absolutely. And from an infrastructure standpoint, the way we put this together was really to limit our on-premise infrastructure that's required to do our analytics platform. So what we focused on was the systems of record and just looking at how can we take that raw data and expose it to a larger audience so that they can consume it through the use of certified data sets that we as a technology group are going to stand behind through a partnership with the system owner in creating something that can be easily consumed. Mm-hmm. And so what we've done is through the use of the Power BI data gateway is create that connection to the system of record data flows, and then consolidate that information into data sets that are now able to be shared across the organization with the new feature of the shared data sets that's now active. And so what that gives us is now we can create a client and incident data set that anyone in the company can consume, that we, along with the system owners, knows has been verified. It's the accurate data. We've got the security, the row-level security built into it. So whatever report gets created from that is now something that we know is going to be secure and accurate altogether.
That's right. So shall we do a demo now?
Yeah, I think that works
Absolutely.
great.
Okay, so let me switch to your machine.
Okay, so Mark's showing a sample dashboard, the demo that we've put together, but I want to frame this demo in kind of two main tracks. So one, help you understand the business context and the problem that we were trying to solve. And then number two, how we utilize Power BI and why Power BI was a clear winner in helping us not only identify the issues that we were seeing, but also maintain and govern going forward in a scalable way. So here's the context behind this demo. So we are primarily, we're very processing heavy. So typically as our payment volume trends go up, our direct costs go up in line with that, or they go down, they go down accordingly. So it's pretty straightforward. So in this particular product that we were looking at, we had fairly normal volume growth, and that also led to relatively normal revenue growth. However, we noticed a very increased trend in our processing expenses. So it was so much the fact that it was actually significantly out of line with our volume growth, and something wasn't making sense. So I don't want to bore you too much with the ins and outs of the payment networks and how we are charged for those, but pretty much any company that's involved with payment processing has least cost routing procedures to move their payments through certain networks and channels, depending on the type of transaction that they get. So over time, we have to make sure that our payment operations team can go through and identify maybe these transaction codes and make sure they're going through the most effective channel from a cost perspective. And this really has no impact on our service delivery to our clients, or more importantly, our customers' clients. So here we have our, in this setup, our team was tasked with identifying not only the root cause of this elevated expense run, but also implement something that we can use to monitor it going forward without having a whole development team stood up, not only to build it, but also to maintain it. So through this, we have built this kind of summary dashboard to look at the performance of the program that we started. And really the analysis for this took about 2 days for the payment ops team to dig into the transactions, identify the proper transaction codes, and then start putting together processes to reroute those transactions through a least cost channel. And then, the report development took about 3 days, and then full adoption we had within about a week. So this was a really fast implementation. So what we have here is an executive dashboard just for, and this is optimized for web view as well as mobile, so that the leaders of these payment teams can go in and say, okay, where's my performance so far? What are we projected to do for the year? But if you drill into this, this is really where our operations teams live, and they're coming in here every day to look at their trending of their year-to-date trending, their month-to-date, quarter-to-date, et cetera. Now, since we implemented this in April, I'm not going to show you the quarter-to-date, but it's the same view as the year-to-date. So this is just a quick summary where you can come in, and we've really utilized some of the storytelling principles that we found through coming to these conferences and making the experience for the user more app-based and app-driven instead of clicking through multiple tabs. So what I really want to focus on is, we have this month-to-date view, and we've started using this key influencers visual to kind of test out, how can we start predicting what's going to be a problem and when? So instead of having analysts dig through the transactions and try to find, we can see our top billers, we can see our 14-day trend, and that, these payment volumes of these transactions that cost significantly more to process, we want that trend to go down because that means they're being routed through least cost channels. But using the KPI, the new KPI visual, we can really get an insight into, okay, is it going to be a certain customer? Do we have problems on a certain day of the week? Are there holidays where either the trend is growing or declining? So that's been incredibly helpful.
It's interesting to see holidays are a key influencers.
Sure.
So people use the more transaction. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting trend. So, the takeaway from here is, and we can go back to the dashboard view to really, see the impact is, this was a very fast implementation. Year to date, from April 25th to June 8th, we've realized $160K in cost savings through implementing these least cost routing programs. And then full year, we're projected to do almost $900,000 in cost savings compared to the prior year. So with that, with one initiative, we were able to cover our entire cost of our Power BI premium tenant and then have some significant change left on the table. And really the section on why Power BI was the obvious choice here is imagine trying to dump a transaction database that has over 750 million rows for 1 year into Excel or any kind of other analysis tool, and you're a business user. So a lot of our business users are very Excel-driven, but we can't really expect somebody in the business to go build out an analysis services cube or dump it into SQL and run analysis that way. So not only did Power BI enable an everyday user to dig in, identify what the problem was, it also enabled us to have a scalable method to continue to track it without having a significant cost for an internal development team or having to hire a third-party consultant. And lastly, it was all in about 2 weeks. So if we didn't have this tool, this would have taken at least a month to not only get the data, find a way to land it, and then have an analysis run on it. And it would have taken even longer to have a tool stood up to continuously monitor this performance.
Okay, anything else on the demo?
That's it for the demo.
I think the key that made that happen was the effort to get the data there in the first place.
Yeah.
right? Because without having that effort gone in ahead of time, the 2 days doesn't happen.
That's right. And that's to your
Right.
point in the architecture diagram, you did all the work up front, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Yep.
And so some of the key success, obviously you seem to get along. That's the first point, right?
Yeah, so the strong partnership between your IT support and your business support is absolutely critical. Rob and I talk on a daily basis, and I talk to people on Rob's team on a daily basis. And without that, you really can't expect business users to build out something that's really scalable. But you can expect business users to come together and put something creative and say, hey, you know what, this is what I need, but I don't really know how to scale it up to a broader organization. Can you help me with that? So not only do you have that creativity stifle if you're not promoting that strong partnership, but it also it's a really fun working environment. We've had, like I said at the beginning, we've had more fun on this project than really anything that I can remember. And then on the change agents point, you have to have people in the business that get out and reach outside of your comfort zone. So go, if you're in finance, go talk to somebody in operations or go talk to somebody in HR and say, hey, what are your processes that you do every day that's really painful? And let me show you how this tool can be used to help alleviate some of that pain. And that's really how we got started, is we have certain change agents in the business that really just got passionate about the tool and say, you know what, I'm not coming in every day and clicking refresh for the first 3 hours and copying and pasting these reports. I want to automate that so I can actually spend time bringing value and providing insights versus just showing you what the business's current state. So between constantly demoing the capabilities and evangelizing kind of what the tool can do within the community, it really gives you a strong platform to build on future growth.
And I can see that you got the key influencers already, so that proves
Yeah.
your point.
That's pretty exciting.
That you bring new stuff, and obviously training and coaching as well, right?
Yeah, and the last part I would say on this is, utilize your relationship with Microsoft. That's been absolutely critical with what we've been trying to do. Participate in any kind of enterprise voice you can get in, or contact your rep about how you can get more involved in understanding what's coming down the pipeline from the Power Platform and Power BI product perspective. We've been able to strategically hold off on some things like releasing report development capabilities to a very broad audience until something like shareable data sets came out. That's huge for us. And with the shareable data sets, you can more effectively govern what your users are doing across the organization. And that way you don't have spend so much time troubleshooting a faulty data set or something that's not really built to do what it's trying to do.
And the last one, executive buy-in.
Yeah, that's absolutely critical. Somebody's got to write the check. So, with Fiserv, we had the SVP of our business was a huge proponent of this. And really, this was kind of a grassroots effort. It started within our business. And he said, look, whatever you need, I'll get it for you. But you need to go out and drive up demand and prove out that this really can change the way that we work. And we're starting to see that. And as we get more and more capabilities, especially around shared data sets and data flows and being able to more effectively scale these, bring together these mini ERP systems that Rob described in a few slides earlier, being able to bring those together through data flows and data sets and then share that out with a broad audience has been absolutely critical in making sure we scale this appropriately.
And it's been the executive buy-in that helped us scale from our premium P1 to a P2 and get the approval to go from one to the other and be able to use cases like this as, here's our realized cost savings, and be able to fund additional features within the Office 365 environment.
So we have a few minutes, so we can take questions. Who has a question? And I have a microphone, or I can repeat the question. Anybody? If I had trinkets,
over
here. See, I'll give you the microphone so we can. They don't have to repeat it. Thank you for.
So within your organization, how did you increase your Power BI expertise, and where did that begin?
So it really began, I would say, in the business, and Rob can keep me honest here, but really going out and having business users talk to each other and make sure that say, hey, here's how we really saved a lot of time and energy on these efforts. And by the way, you can piggyback on this too. We'll be happy to share with you, happy to sit down and have coaching systems. Many people on our staff have spent countless hours just talking people through the basics of how do you get the desktop tool, how do you get started. how do you start building these visuals? What does a data flow mean? How can I start using that more in my group? But just going out and being willing to spend some extra time helping somebody get started has been critical.
It has been grassroots, getting the word out, right? We created an internal Power BI user group that's an open meeting that anyone in the company can attend.
Yep.
And this is really driven by the people that use Power BI on a daily basis to show and tell, here's what I'm doing with it, and here's some things that you can do with it too.
Often you're going to see self-anointed champions that are come through. There's always
Yes.
in a group of 10, 1 or 2 who they are super excited. And I know at Microsoft we made them our heroes. We make sure our CFO knew about it. And so we did a little bit of put them on a pedestal because they stick their neck and they do it not for anything in return. So we found ways to encourage people to be champions, especially the ones who self-anointed. Usually that comes through. Any other questions on the architecture, on the adoption? Yes, let me give you the microphone so we can record it. Thank you.
Yeah. So my main question is, with all the monthly updates, how do you control the PBX versioning, like May, June, July?
So we're currently working with our desktop team to have that broadcast out as part of the workstation updates. It has been a challenge because the end users have to have local admin rights to install it. So that's a workload on the help desk team. So putting that into the workstation updates will help alleviate that challenge.
Question?
Here.
Yes, I'll go to the back first. Go ahead.
Since you guys are in the financial services business, a lot of confidential data, obviously. It sounded like you're using the cloud to store it versus on-premises. How did you get over that hurdle with your governance?
So we went through our Chief Information Security Officer to get approval to use Power BI. Microsoft actually came in and helped us present the case of here's how our data is protected. One of the key things that we were required to have was ExpressRoute, which is a dedicated network connection from our workstations to the Office 365 environment. So it allows us to use that dedicated pipe for sending data. And then with the security features within Office 365 turned on in the data classification, that gives us more capabilities than what we've historically had in an on-premise environment to report and audit on what data is being used and published to the cloud.
And I see, having worked with financial service industry, a change culturally from 2 years ago. I see an evolution about, it's almost a mindset that is evolving in that regard, but you got to have the capabilities that follow. You had a question, sir?
Yeah, so my question is more about data management. So when you have a user that needs data outside of these data flows or data sets that you have created, do you have a process on how you can get more data added to that data sets, or how do you manage that?
Are you talking about like extending sales data?
So right now, I guess your data sets are based on an initial scope, right?
Yep.
To decide
Yes.
the requirements, and then you got the people creating the data flows, and then you get the data set. So if you have a request, because you open this for everybody, right? Now, if you have a request, I need data. Maybe even outside of those raw data, sets that you have, seasonal records that you have outlined there, right?
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? I mean, I guess because it's part of one of these system of records, I guess it's not that complicated, but what if they want to add something that is outside those system of records? Like external data.
Yeah, so 2 parts, right? If there's additional information in the system of record that we want to have brought in, that's a request to the system owner, right? And we'll work with them to bring that additional piece in. It's relatively low effort to do. If there's additional data that they want to join in, then we'll work through getting them access to the data flow so that they can mash up with another external, maybe an Excel file, to create maybe another data set that gets shared.
Okay, so we have time for one more question. Any more question before we move to Schlumberger? Okay, so I'll go back and I'll pass you the microphone. Maybe somebody can pass. Thank you.
You mentioned the 70 different companies that were brought in to make Fiserv. Now, what you're doing is financial data. Is that for the entire company, or are you just one of the 70?
So for my primary scope, I'm in a subset of the overall company with a particular business unit. However, the effort that we've underwent through this has been at enterprise grade. So when we look at pulling in financial data from our systems of record, we want to make sure that everything that we're pulling in foots to what our corporate FP&A team is projecting for their enterprise-wide financials. Same with sales data or hours data or headcount, anything like that. We want to make sure that it is available for the enterprise so that users outside of just our business unit can start tagging along. And it was really an effort to help promote adoption, to say, hey, there's really no barriers to you picking up the benefits from this today. I can send you the file or share the data set with you, and you're ready to roll.
Which business are you in?
Billing and payments group. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go to Schlumberger now. Thank you, Fiserv.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to go to our second customer, Schlumberger, with Tin. Him and I are French. We practice everything in French, but we're going to do it in English. Don't worry. So let me. I always struggle with company names, but this one is easy for me, Schlumberger. Yes. I can put a little bit of flair. So let's talk a little bit about Schlumberger. Can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Yes. So first, thanks Mark for having me and giving me the opportunity to present what we are doing at Schlumberger. So Schlumberger is the world leading provider of technology and services in the oil and gas industry. So we help our customer to manage and execute their project to safely and efficiently produce oil and gas throughout the various life cycle of the project, starting from helping them to characterize the reservoir, helping them to then drill the well. When the drill is ready, to then help them do the production, optimize the production, manage throughout the whole life cycle of the well, and then finally help them do the processing of the output of the well. So our company is really global. We have more than 100,000 employees across 85 countries.
That's a huge company. There's a saying in France, en France, on n'a pas de pétrole, mais on a des idées. We don't have oil, but we have ideas. And that's kind of what you guys built upon it, because we don't have oil in France, basically.
That's right, but the company was created in 1920 by two French engineers in Alsace. And they were the first one that found a way to actually use a wireline logging to do some electric resistivity measurement down the reservoir to help back then the customer to know which reservoir has potential for
That's
oil.
Right. So tell us a little bit about you, Tin. What do you do in that company and your background and everything? Make sure you don't fall.
Yes. Thank you, Mark. So I've been with Schlumberger for 19 years now. I'm currently managing the BI platform team, which is supporting all the BI technology that we are using centrally. So that's Oracle BI, Tableau, and now Power BI as well. I'm currently based in Houston. I started in Paris, spent some years also in the Middle East. I spent the last 7 years in BI. Before that, I was part of the enterprise architecture team, and previously I had some experience on CRM, enterprise application integration, and various web-enabled database projects.
So lots of years in IT and dealing with data more recently.
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about your BI challenge at Schlumberger.
So the context. So the BI journey at Schlumberger started officially early 2000. Back then, we finalized the deployment of SAP in North America. And then we decided to go with the deployment of Lawson for the rest of the world. We ended up having a very heterogeneous landscape based on the best-of-breed approach, with data coming from various business systems. And there was a need to actually build a corporate dashboard with data coming from all the systems. So we leveraged back then the Oracle stack with Oracle BI. We started with a very consolidated and centralized BI approach. Then in 2010, with the emergence of the need of self-service BI, we started to introduce Tableau to actually to complete our offering. Some other niche player in the company started to use ClickView, and later on also SaaS VA. And then a few years ago, we realized, okay, now we have a landscape that is quite complicated. We try to actually to cover the corporate dashboarding side. We try to cope for the self-service BI side, and we ended up with a landscape, a BI landscape that was very heterogeneous with so many tools. And the challenge that came with that was that it was the support from a central standpoint and from an end user standpoint was a little bit chaotic. The end users were lost and frustrated. The management of the license was also a little bit complicated, and the processes to actually produce content was not also very user-friendly. On the corporate BI side, we were able to provide data. On the self-service side, with Tableau, we didn't provide data. We just provided the tool for those self-service users to do the visualization, but they had to go and get the data by themselves. And it was very difficult for them to get the data from the central BIDW.
Yeah, that's a very good point because it's almost like you had either centralized BI or self-service BI, and there was no link in between. You either,
exactly.
Here's like PDF-like report, and this is it, or do whatever you want. But, in one way, it creates a bit of Excel hell. Otherwise, if in the other one, people go in meeting and nobody agrees on the key KPIs, right?
And that's right, because what happened is that on the central BI solution that we have put in place, we have protected all the data via row-level security, and it was all profile-based. And then on the self-service BI side, of course, the end user wanted to go and do some report trying to merge the data that they had access to centrally with their manual data. And they ended up doing a lot of export, doing a lot of manipulation of Excel. And the security rule that we tried to put in place was along the way broken.
So there's another expression in France. We're using a lot of French expressions. We're giving you a French immersion. It's called usine à gaz, which is like a gas factory where all the tubes. In finance, when we tend to build stuff, it tends to be in usine à gaz, which a lot of inefficient ways of doing things when we do sales, because that's not our core job usually.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the solution.
So the solution. So then we kind of step back and say, okay, as part of the digital transformation that the company has been ongoing and started a few years ago, we actually had to look at how to move forward from the BI standpoint. We look at all the pain points, and we realized that first, we wanted to make a selection on one tool to use, whether it was for self-service or corporate BI going forward. So we went with Power BI. It was also rational compared to the fact that we are also deploying Office 365 in the company. And then behind, we didn't want to make the same mistake as when we deployed Tableau. We decided to provide a robust, scalable enterprise data warehouse to provide the data both for self-service as well as corporate dashboard. With the on-premise infrastructure we had before, we could not onboard all of the various database and data warehouse that the various niche team built. Now with Azure and the Microsoft technology stack, we are now enabled to bring everybody together. So we are leveraging here Azure Analysis Services to build and expose those corporate information models, both for self-service, BI, and the corporate dashboard. Behind, we are using Azure Data Warehouse to store all of those data models, all of the transform data, all the aggregation, all the historical data. We are using Azure Data Factory with a little bit of SSIS for the ETL part. And we are integrating with the data lake, which is an on-premise data lake built with Hadoop by the data analytics team to get all of the data that the BI world will need.
Got it. And you had a very gradual launch and approach to this. You took the time to make sure things worked out, right?
Yes. So once we have made the decision that Power BI is the tool to go forward with, we have to take into account that our landscape was very various. We have all those tools, a lot of expectation from the end users, some users being used to this technology, etc. And it would have been very difficult for us to go for a big bang approach, adding even more frustration to the frustration that we have sensed before we made that selection. And we went for a 3-step approach. So end of 2017, for 2 quarters, we were on the pilot mode. With Microsoft, we negotiated a limited number of Power BI Pro license that we distributed to some of the early adopters that we were able to identify in the organization. We also got 1P1 premium node to play around, and we selected some project to have their workspace hosted there. We have identified then those early adopters and created an informal group that we call the inner group, who actually help us to give some feedback about their understanding of the product, what they wanted to use with that. We set up back then a Yammer group to help us communicate with all of those people, knowing that if you look at Schlumberger, we are spread all around the world. So we needed to have like a placeholder to have all those communication. And the kind of things that we learned back then is that people were very confused that, for example, between Power BI Desktop, Pro and Premium, what it meant compared to what they used to know. So the pilot phase helped us to actually to understand what kind of questions our end user will ask when we will then be ready to go globally. But it also allowed our team to also ramp up on understanding the product and how to administrate it. The second phase then, when we had a little bit of content, we kind of organized ourselves into setting up those processes to support the end user, setting up some support queues, the Yammer group, setting up some process on how to manage and provision those licenses, how to create a workspace in Premium, how to recharge that. We set it up a small support team for that stealth launch, where at that time we were ready to answer the need of those users that were already playing with Power BI, came to us and asked us, how can I use the tool in a more efficient way? So it was in Q2 of last year, and we were ready to actually to answer the growing demand of the company. Phase 3, once we have the content, the processes in place, once our team has also ramped up on the knowledge of the tool, we went for a full official launch. So it was end of Q2 of last year, and we have set up a lot of communication channels. We communicated via our corporate intranet, putting some article there. We sent a global email to all the employees saying that in addition to the deployment of Office 365, now Power BI is available for the company. We have actually we have also posted some initial training videos on our online training system. We set up some webinar to support the early deployment of the product with some training content delivered either online or by classroom. And we actually step up on that dedicated team that was there just to support the deployment. And the team was also needed to also interact and identify those network of champions that was needed for that.
And all of this paid off because you end up having thousands of people. You end up having great adoption. And
yes,
quick
yes.
adoption.
So
all the preparation, all the readiness, all the thoughtful approach help you. And you built an in-depth Power BI monitoring tool, right?
Yeah, so when we deployed Power BI, what we realized is that we wanted to make sure that the tool was adopted. We wanted to know who has adopted that. And also we wanted to actually to measure versus the footprint that we have with the legacy BI solution. So we have built that in-house monitoring tool, leveraging that BI platform that I've shown earlier. So our team was able to get data from the Power BI audit log, store all of the data in that new enterprise data warehouse using ADF, and join the data with the personal information that we have in our HR information model to be able to associate a user that was coming from the Power BI audit log to the various organizational dimensions of the company, the geo market, the product line, even the job of the user. So we created an information model to expose the information, upon which the dashboard I'm going to show you has been built, but the information model has been also exposed for self-service users. So that means that the user could also build their own report on top of that, and then be able to analyze even further the activity on their workspace.
So you're gonna show it to us? I think you are logged in. This is you, right?
Yes.
I'll let you.
So this is the dashboard that we have opened to the whole company. So first of all, the information model that is underneath, we made sure that we anonymize the information. We didn't want people to use the information model and the dashboard to know who exactly has seen what report or what dashboard. The goal here was just to monitor the adoption, and then for the various workspace owners to know who their population was. So you can see we have actually started to collect all of the logs since May of last year, which is when we officially launched Power BI internally. And you can see here the curve of adoption, right? And we have 4 million across all the operations that Power BI logs were capturing. We have more than 4 million operations and 20,000 unique users, knowing that we have around 5,000 or 6,000 Power BI Pro license holder.
And you have so many users that the numbers don't fit in the bar. After 9,000, you see that
Yes,
there's 5
yes.
digits.
So
you went to 5 digits.
So what I'm going to show you, so we have actually some basic.
I know it's my laptop. It's hard, no?
Yeah. So the basic graph will actually show here the number of unique users per date, the operation for each workspace, the number of operation based on the job assigned to a user, the geography of the user. So you can see here the ramp up, but you can also see here that now Power BI is widely used all across the world. We can also see which product line is using this the most. Management and support, that's not a surprise, and the job market that those users belong. And for example, I'm just going to go there and then just look at the.
Good luck with the tiny.
So when we focus just on the view dashboard operations, so this is going down to 1,500,000. We can actually spot here the top dashboard that has been using Power BI since we launched that. The tool allows actually to know where those users are. And for example, if I take here the operation of printing with the dashboard.
So you can see where they print the dashboard the most. Here, I think, let me help you because it's my machine and it's not, I know it's, there we go.
Yeah.
So we filter. And you can see which groups print the most.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that's it. But I think that
that's a very comprehensive dashboard that you built. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about because it's not just the technology, right? You also focus heavily on the people.
Yes, so given the context of upon which we try to deploy Power BI, we realized that it wasn't just trying to push yet another tool to the end user. And we actually had to put a lot of effort into the change management. We actually needed to have the right bandwidth of people to understand how the product was evolving. So there has been a shift in the sense that before we were supporting some BI tool upon which we had some tighter control on Tableau or Oracle BI. We have a control on which version we wanted to deploy it to the company. So we were on top of what the end user had access to. Now with Power BI, so the cons is that you have to actually to be kept to date with the features and all the fixes that come with the product. The problem with that is that in the past, when we wanted to do an upgrade of Oracle BI, it was a 6-month project with a lot of effort and a lot of risk of breaking a lot of dashboard. Now it is more seamless. But because of the nature of Power BI, we needed to have the bandwidth and then the right organization to stay on top of those changes, to also have a structure to stay engaged with the local champion, because at the end of the day, those business users are the ones at the end that will know more about the product, so we needed to take that into account. So we needed to have a way to be up to date with the product, engaging a lot with Microsoft, then having all the communication channels to collaborate, to communicate, and making sure that the organization, wherever the end users are aware of the tool, and know how to ask for help, and to be able to generate the content to accompany them in the journey.
Yeah, and the thing that is very impressive, because we put some snippets, but you put a lot of effort. So you have, we talked earlier with Standard Bank from South Africa and from Fiserv. You have these central small teams who enable thousands of users, and that's the case with you, right? And you do a lot of things. I mean, I love your word, you are in the inner circle. And now you're using words like avant-première. So it's good that you can share with us all the things you do with a small team of people to enable, there's over 10,000 monthly active users, right?
Yes. So what we have done is that we have set up, so to enable that gradual deployment and then the focus on the people, we have set up a center of excellence. So right now it is around 10 people located across Houston, India, and then we are also ramping up in Kuala Lumpur to make sure that we have a global coverage. So the goal of of that team was to learn and then generate all the content during the pilot phase, the staff launch, and be able to build those use cases, talking to the end user, share those use cases so that our user knew how to use Power BI, proactively going and engage with some champion that we were able to identify via the use of that Yammer group, or now with the monitoring tool, to be able to identify those influencers and then recognize them and then get them on board, whether those influencers are in the product line, geo-market, or the functions.
And I love all the communication channel. You have email spam, you have intranet, and you see some of the snippets. You have webinars that are happening. You have a Yammer group. You have there's a lot of things you've put together.
Yes, yes. So the first small screenshot that you see.
Introducing Power BI?
Yes, that was the global email that we sent to all of our employees. So it was a big email spam. And we were using the look and feel of the Office 365 commercialization team. The second screenshot is the article that we have put on our intranet, on our corporate intranet. The last one on the right side is actually the schedule of all those initial webinars that we have communicated to start to engage with the users, start to answer to their questions. The screenshot in the middle at the bottom is the wiki that we have set up for Power BI. We wanted to have a central place where all the employees could come for whatever question they wanted they had on Power BI, how to get the license, all the FAQs. And then the last one, bottom right, is the Yammer group that we have created. And all the users who has a pro license are automatically added to that Yammer group. And in addition to the support queue that we have set up, where people can actually submit a ticket when they have a technical issue, we encourage them to actually go and ask their question and contribute into Yammer. Because we recognize that at the end, we have a central team that helps to facilitate, to set up the infrastructure, to generate content, but the experts are all those other circles that are
inner circle.
in the other part of the organization.
And that's how 10 people enable basically over 10,000. So we have basically 10 minutes for questions. So I have a microphone. Anybody wants to ask a question? There you go. Thank you.
So how did you manage avoiding getting into duplication of information or reportings? So with this large team of people developing, creating things in Power BI, chances are people, in Europe is going to start creating sales or whatever reports that might not, show the same information as, other regions are also showing. How do you, if you went through that issue, I'm assuming you did, so how do you manage that?
That's a very good question, because in a company as large as Schlumberger and as global, it's very difficult to actually to be in control of everything. So we try to address that in several parts. First is when I show to you that enterprise data warehouse, it was actually the technical enabler for us to actually to go to all those niche players, those BI team working for the function or the product line, to tell them, come, join us, and then make sure that you actually have all your data there. The benefit for you is that once we get a feed from the data lake, that will actually benefit all of the team that will be working on our enterprise data warehouse. So actually by inviting those major teams to join us, which wasn't possible before when we had an on-premise Oracle database and we were limited by the capacity or the compute power, this is the first step where we were able to set up an organization where we invited all those teams to come, join us, and then initiate those projects to then migrate their content. We have set up what we call an information design group, who is a group of data architects who will actually oversee what information is brought by who, what corporate information will be built by who, and then try to rationalize that. So that is on one part. On the other part is that it's also then very difficult to know exactly what are all those very self-service users, those individuals across the world are doing. So what we are doing is that when those people are coming to us and asking for a workspace to be created, we make sure that we are the only one who can create a workspace, that we actually collect a lot of information about what that workspace is trying to do. We are managing also the gateways that is actually going to allow them to declare another source that is not an official one. We need to make sure that we make an inventory of all of that. The things that we are missing now, and we actually are talking with Microsoft and some of our other partners, is that we had to actually to build a catalog of reports, right? Power BI is very limited in how you can actually have that catalog. We had a catalog that we use for a legacy report, but the problem is that it's very manual. And if you have a catalog that is manually maintained, after some time, the catalog becomes obsolete. So here we know that we want to have a catalog that will have all those reports, but the problem that we are going to try to solve is how do we make sure that the catalog always stay up to date.
Great. I can tell you lived through that. It's really thorough answer. I appreciate that. Yes, so let me run there. There you go. Thank you.
Do you think that you mentioned you transitioned from Tableau, which you had doing kind of a self-service analytics, but wasn't really easy enough to get data. One of the key enablers was creating this architecture with the data lake. And do you think that switching to Power BI also enabled that as opposed to Tableau in its ease of use? And can you kind of compare, contrast how much easier it was for users to pick up?
So when we went for Power BI last year, we wanted to make sure that all the new content were created with Power BI. We haven't decommissioned Tableau yet. We have actually started a project to make sure that we are migrating all of the things that were built with Oracle BI in terms of dashboard and ETL to the new infrastructure. So this is ongoing right now. And we have actually started to send some communication to the Tableau users that they actually have to plan to build their content in Power BI. So we are giving them until the end of next year to do that. What we have done is that we have stopped in the creation of any new Tableau site so that we are redirecting all the new content there. So this is something that is starting. We know that Tableau has some feature eventually that Power BI doesn't have, but we are counting with Microsoft trying to actually to add all those new features during the journey. But indeed, I mean, one of the good selling points that we have with Power BI is that we are providing that infrastructure so that the end user can have access to something that they didn't have with Tableau before.
And I can tell, I mean, given the thoughtful approach you had to deployment, you probably have the same approach to Tableau decommissioning. So
Yeah.
I think there was somebody who raised their hand right here, or maybe it's in the back. I'm going to try to sneak by. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I was really fascinated by your usage reports for Power BI, and I've seen that before for an individual report, and I'm guessing this is for all of the collection of reports in your organization.
Yes.
So I just want to understand better from where are you getting that data, and how can we get it as well, because we've had a lot of interest from senior management on how can we understand how Power BI is being more broadly used across the organization. Where can we get that data in order to better promote it?
So the team has been getting the data from the Power BI OT log using Splunk. So for that, we needed to actually collaborate with the global O365 admin in order to have access to that. And I know that the team also used some REST API to be able to get data from the Power BI capacity management side. So it's a combination of REST API and Splunk. But to have access to that, we had to collaborate with our global admin.
Another question? Yeah, I thought there was somebody on the front, wasn't maybe I missed it. Okay, well, thank you so much, Tin.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much, and I'm trying to get my hands. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.